Did you push play? Let's go. Talking about leadership today, or change in leadership. What's that look like? We all deal with it in business. It's so important. It's critical. It can make the difference in your business, whether it's successful or whether it fails. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Brad Hogan. I'm a business guy here in Central Florida. Welcome to Pivoting Through Life, Pivoting Through Your Business. This is Season 3, Episode 7, Change in Leadership. Number one, we're talking about CEOs, being you as business leaders and or other managers within your company. The decision is, as this thing grows, as my business grows, do I take it as far as I can and then bring in somebody that's been there before, that's got the experience? Or this is my baby, I know what the vision is, I know where I'm going, so I'm going to run it. Whichever one you decide to do, you have got to get the information. If you've never been there before, but it's your baby and you're going to stick with it and you're going to grow this thing, we're going to go from a couple million to 50 million. You have got to get, number one, the people around you, and you've got to get the mentorship, the coaching, maybe it's board of directors. You have got to get those people that have got the experience, because two things make a business fail: undercapitalized and mismanaged. In this case, what people don't see coming when they fail is we don't know what we don't know. And that's going to fall under the mismanagement category. So you've got to get the information that you don't know or you're not thinking of, as this business grows and scales at 5 million, 10 million, 20 million. My business is running like an assembly line. It's area A, area B, area C. They're all communicating, and then they grow and grow and grow. Things running like a machine, and then all of a sudden it's not. It's running like a machine on the surface, but there's all these ancillary things in the background that aren't happening the way they should. It's taking months to close out a roofing job. It's the punch out work. We need somebody that's got the experience that says, hey, I go in there and go, hey, you need to be running SBUs. What do you mean? Small business units. Look at GE Capital. Look at General Motors. What do? When they scale, we go to small units, teams, etc. Not here to talk about that today. The point is bringing someone in that's got that experience and know-how that you're not thinking of. And very important if you're going to stay with it. And really the killer in that area a lot of times is ego. I know this better than anybody. I build it. I got it where it's at. It's my deal. What do you think happened in the past? It didn't get here by someone else. Get out of your own way. Either get the help or bring somebody in. The second thing talk about is style. So there's basically two styles. We've got friendly and we've got fear. If you will look at, you guys are sports guys, I am. Look at the NFL. You will notice those teams, they go from a friendly coach to a fear-driven coach. And they'll go back and forth. And it's a balance all the time. Every team does it. It's either, hey, let's sit down, let's have a nice conversation. You're not doing everything you're supposed to be doing exactly. How can we get you there? The fear-driven guy comes in and goes, look, you're not getting it done. You know it. I know it. Somebody else is going to be taking your job. You're not going to have a job here. Do we manage in a friendly manner or from fear? I've 90% of the time manage in a friendly capacity. And I'll also say this, we're not going to change styles in the middle of what we're doing. That's not who we are. But there have been situations, companies I ran, took over, started, that it was fear-driven. So I had a bunch of young, arrogant, cocky sales guys right where I wanted them. That's where I need them. I need them knowing that they can close the deal, making tons of money. But man, those guys, you couldn't talk to them. They knew everything. Couldn't be friendly. Like, yeah, I got it. So it was fear. And the fear was, no matter how good they were, no matter how much money they made, it was, you screw that up, you're not going to have a job. You miss that sale, you're not going to have a job. It was the fear of them losing that paycheck that was so awesome. The third thing I talk about is know the manager. A lot of times if you're bringing in a manager for one of your divisions, also knowing who you are. Are you the guy that follows the policies and procedures? You work well out of the, I'm going to call it the textbook. So everything's laid out like McDonald's. You can go to a manual, everything's there, and I can manage from there. Or is the manager you're hiring, or you yourself, are you a creator? You're the guy that creates it. You go in and you see it and go, this is what needs to be done. I would encourage you, even if you're the creative guy, you need to get a team around you that is creating those policies and procedures. Ultimately, as we scale this thing, policies and procedures run companies, not people. But know who you're hiring. What we don't want to do is just throw somebody the keys, whether it's the CEO or it's a division within your company. Just throw them the keys and say, go get them. Maybe they're great at running it from a manual. They can read through it and follow the policies and procedures, but they're not a creator. And that's on us as business owners to understand who we are employing, who we're hiring, who we're bringing to our company. The fourth thing I want to talk about is allowing those people that you hire. It doesn't matter if you're the owner of the company and you're bringing in a CEO or whether you've got a marketing manager. You need to allow them to do their job, run their division. You've heard that before, but what am I talking about? What's that actually mean? I had a company. I was CEO, president of the company, had a marketing manager, very effective, very good at his job, did very well at marketing. He was also over the sales division. It was sales and marketing. One day I'm sitting in my office. My marketing manager comes in and he says, man, our guy, our manager, David, back in the sales room has fired so-and-so. Well, we've got like 900 employees. I look at my marketing manager and I go, who is that? Who's the so-and-so we fired? Who's that guy? And he said, you know, the guy that, and he described the guy. And I said, oh, yeah, okay, I know that guy. Is he good at his job? My marketing manager said, yeah, he's really good at his job. He sells a lot. But David has fired him. The employee came to my office crying, saying, David's fired me from my job and it ain't right, and all this stuff. And I asked my marketing manager, I said, what do you want to do? And he said, oh, well, I'm not going to fire him. I'm not going to. And I said, ho, time out. You can't do that. And he said, what do you mean? I'm the marketing manager. I can do anything I want in sales. I said, it's true, you can. But if you don't allow David to fire that guy, if you bring that employee back, you're going to undermine David. And what's going to happen back there in that sales room with 300 people, they're going to say, I can do whatever I want. If David wants to fire me, I'll just go around to the marketing manager and keep my job. The other thing that's going to happen is David is no longer going to be an effective manager. He's going to be thinking, well, I'm not going to reprimand that person. I'm not going to fire him. The marketing manager just brings him back. What do I care? All of a sudden, nobody's accountable. Nobody cares. And I told my marketing manager, listen, unless you want to go back to the sales room and run the manager's job, what you've got to tell this employee is there's only one way you keep your job. I'll talk to David, but David has got the ultimate say-so whether you stay or you go. That's the best you can do. You've got to let David run it. And then when you go talk to David, you got to sit down with David and say, hey, you know, what happened here? And ultimately, David, I want you to know it's your decision. It's your area. You call it. If he's fired, he's fired. Go from that standpoint. You've got to allow these people to do their job. You can't be meddling in their business, watching over their shoulder every minute of the day. It just can't happen. You know, I say it frequently, and I'll say it again. You can either have control or you can grow, but you will not do both. And in this case, you need to let their managers do their thing. Fifth thing I want to talk about is CEO and COO. As we scale our business, we need both of these roles within our company. Whatever you call it, however you term it, whoever it is within the company, typically the CEO is the face of the company. This is the president, this is the creator. Perhaps it's you, perhaps it's me. What we're doing is we're working like crazy in the background, right? If we got nothing to do, we got 80 hours worth of work a week, figuring out where's the company going, what are we doing right, let's do more of that. What are we weak at? Let's either get stronger at it or do less of it. We're figuring those things out. But it's our job to come in, we buy lunch, we kiss the babies, we show up at the presentations. We're doing all those things as a face of the company. The COO, as we scale, this role, as we get bigger, becomes vital and it becomes necessary. The COO is the guy that's really kicking butt and he's enforcing policy. He is the guy that's not kissing babies and shaking hands. He's the guy that comes out and says, look, I don't care what you guys think of me. We need to get to work. We need to get this thing done. And whether he says it that exact way, he is the driver in the business that keeps everything on track. We know statistically, as a company scales, if you have 1,000 employees, 100 of your employees do 50% of the work. It's the way it is. When you scale it, that's what happens. That's why that COO is there to drive the work so we can get the numbers. As we scale, our margins shrink and those small, minute percentages become more and more important. We're not talking about just in business for money. We're talking about it's necessary to make profit to stay in business, to be vital. Figure out who you are as a person. Figure out who in your company is where, what seat on the bus they should be in, how they manage, what that looks like, how effective they are going forward. And it's going to help you dictate what your future looks like. Love you guys. See you in the next one.